Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial topics, the most engaged debates, the most interesting subjects going on in the world today. And tonight is absolutely no different. It's so good to see everybody here on Memorial Day. For a lot of us, Memorial Day is not an opportunity to be patriotic, but an opportunity to enjoy a day off. It's an opportunity to think about the start of the summer, not the official summer, but the go outside summer for those of you grown folk out there, or want to be grown folk out there. There's also the opportunity to think about those who have fallen. Even if you're not patriotic, even if you don't believe in American empire, you still think about the people who have given their life for this empire. And you remember them and their lives. Even at the same time that we may not agree with the choice to sacrifice the one's life for this empire, we still understand that it was a sacrifice nonetheless. Lots of stuff going on in the world today. Ceasefire deal we want to talk about. We want to talk about Donald Trump and his craziness once again. We got some Kid Cudi stuff. And we also have a special guest joining us in just a few minutes that will make Night School even better. We got people writing in. I see a lot of y'all. You know, I was worried that some of y'all wouldn't be around because it was midnight or 10:30, excuse me, on a holiday. And some of you wouldn't be around just because. But I appreciate the fact that y'all are here. I appreciate the fact that y'all are joining me tonight. I don't appreciate the fact that I don't even brush my hair. I meant to. Time is crazy over here. I looked up and I'm like, oh shit. Normally I would have a haircut on Monday, but because of the holiday, I can't do it. Support educators of color. This shirt came from Creed. Creed is a center in North Carolina, Center for Racial Equity and Education. Shout out to them, not just for the shirt, but for the work that they do every single day. I want to holler at them. And Levi or Levy, I think it's Levi though. Happy to catch or Levy. Happy to catch a live with people of common thought. Yo, me too. It's always good to catch a show live, and it's always good to have conversation with the folk that we believe in and care about. So I appreciate it. Anyway, everybody, let's get to it. Let's get to it because there's so much I want to talk about and so little time. So let's get to it. Hamas just agreed to a ceasefire deal, but Israel says not so fast. The militant group reportedly accepted a U.S. brokered hostage deal that would pause the war for 70 days in exchange for releasing 10 hostages. But Israel says that isn't the offer that they actually signed off on themselves. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff suggests that Hamas twisted the terms. He says the real deal is a limited ceasefire, not a long one. He says that it only happens if Hamas gives up half of the living hostages and half of the dead hostages. U.S. fingerprints, of course, are all over this intervention, from the bombs that Israel drops to the bread that Gaza barely gets access to. And a brand new American-backed group says, we know actually that they just started handing out food in Gaza without the UN and with private security on deck. It's called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and it launched this new system on the same day Israel's airstrikes killed at least 52 people. including a family of 6 inside a school shelter. The foundation says it'll feed 1 million people this week, but Hamas told Palestinians not to trust it, saying it's all part of Israel and America's plan to control the Strip, Gaza Strip, and to push folks out. Meanwhile, the UN says Israel's using food as a weapon and that this new system won't work. The whole thing, all of it, comes after months of Israel blocking food, fuel, medicine, all of it from entering Gaza. And aid groups say that famine is already knocking at the door. Now, Israel is still going hard. They're bombing relentlessly, and they're saying that it won't stop until Hamas is gone, until all the hostages come home, and 2 million Palestinians somehow voluntarily migrate. Now, we all know that there's another word for that. It's not war. You've heard the word war used. I inadvertently used it today. It's not intervention. It's ethnic cleansing. And that's what we're seeing. That's what it is. And that's what we have to stop. So we'll keep our eyes focused on that. I want to move on to another story. And maybe we'll bring on our special guest to talk about it too, because we got guests all the time coming, but none as special as this one. Let me pull up some stuff here. Oh, before we actually get to that, I want to shout out Ed Ladawi. Ed, I haven't seen you in a while. I appreciate you as always. Ed says, we, America, didn't keep our end of the bargain for a ceasefire in exchange for the release of the American-Israeli hostage who was actively serving the IDF. Why would they trust us this time? It's the right question, Ed. A lot of deals have been made, a lot of agreements have been made, and the argument is always that Hamas doesn't keep its end of the bargain. Other people are arguing that Israel doesn't keep its end of the bargain, but we have seen documented evidence that many times the United States, if we take the other players off the table, the United States always seems to renege on its promises. And this is an example of it. So absolutely no surprise there. And thank you for the great comment. Also, thank you for the generous donation, everybody. If you have a question tonight, a question or a comment, if you have a super chat, a super sticker, or a super thanks, drop it in. We'll make sure that we read it. If you have a Q&A opportunity here and you don't have any money, you don't want to drop anything, and we'll still read it in the comment section if we can. But priority, of course, goes to those who drop a super chat because, well, you know why. It's how we keep this thing going. Anyway, want to start with this news story. It's fascinating to me. I want to make sure we get to it. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm moving a little slow tonight, y'all, but let's get to it. Donald Trump just let a crooked cop walk free. And he's blaming Joe Biden for it. On Monday, Donald Trump dropped a full and unconditional pardon for former Virginia Sheriff Scott Jenkins, just one day before the man was set to report for a 10-year prison sentence. Jenkins was convicted last December for running a straight-up cash for badges scheme. Literally, you pay, you get a badge. This was while leading the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office. Now, you will be devastated and shocked to know that this is the gentleman right here. Yes, he happens to be white. He has been accused and convicted of taking in $75,000 in bribes, money and campaign checks, all of it, in exchange for giving out official deputy badges to his donors. Now, not just regular folks. I need to be clear. Some of the deputies were undercover FBI agents. At least one was a convicted felon that Jenkins tried to help get his gun rights back. Federal prosecutors were very clear. They laid it out. Jenkins sold power and influence like it was a garage sale. He was convicted on 12 counts, conspiracy, bribery, fraud, all while running a police department funded by, well, that's right, your tax dollars. And the DOJ said that Jenkins, quote, violated his oath and tried to enrich himself by putting fake cops on the street. But Donald Trump, Donald Trump is such a fascinating guy. Donald Trump defends this person. And yes, I do think his whiteness matters here. And so do other police officers, which is why I brought it up. Donald Trump goes on Truth Social. That's his own kind of internet platform. And he called Jenkins the victim. He said that the Biden Department of Justice dragged the sheriff and his wife through hell, and that the, quote, radical left judge blocked key evidence during trial. Trump called the whole case political and decided that Jenkins deserved, quote, a wonderful and productive life instead of a prison cell. This isn't just about one sheriff. It's about how power protects itself. If you're rich, if you're well-connected, if you're MAGA aligned in this moment, then justice will always bend toward you. This is happening as Minnesota State Police are bracing for reaction to rumors about Derek Chauvin, the person who killed George Floyd. There's a good chance that he will also be pardoned. This is a mess. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it all down. But before we do, let me bring in an extraordinary human being, a brilliant scholar, an awesome woman, Dr. Melissa Valle.
Hi, is my mic on?
Your mic sounds nice.
Check one.
Yes, everybody. I convinced Dr. Melissa to make another visit to night school.
Yeah.
It took a lot of cajoling, a lot of begging. She's an important woman.
I was just tired.
I get it. Look,
we had a good day, but it was a long day.
We had a long, full day. I pulled up on the scene about 10 minutes ago. And as soon as I got on, apparently I look sleepy or I look tired. Because people were like, yo, you need to get some sleep. So I was like, I just said hello.
You sound tired. Like I hear your voice.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, so you know I'm tired. But I think it's their way of telling me that I look bad too.
You said what?
I think it's their way of telling me I look bad too.
I'm about to say it's also they're like, no, we see it in your face.
Your face is actually, it's your actual face, Mark. But I want to talk to you a little bit about. I want to talk to you about a million things always, but I want to talk to you about this dirty cop thing.
Okay.
Because I keep thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day. About all day, I mean the 5 minutes before I came on, and I just keep thinking like. First, this idea that there's a police department just giving out badges to anybody. But also,
what that is for. I mean, were they just so that they can sort of flash them and do a bunch of nonsense with them? Like, because who's just like, or if people just like, I just need a job. Like, I don't
remember the white, because they're kind of like deputy badges. So it's not clear to me that you actually get a job for it.
Right. So you just get, but do you get sort of, I guess, passes for doing a bunch of different things? And also, I mean, obviously now with sort of
you're officially a police officer for sure.
So I'll say, thinking about the people now who are like purchasing like ICE badges and things on like Amazon and shit like that to just do a bunch of nonsense and basically kidnapping and all types of craziness. So
exactly. And you get to, you get pulled over, you get to flash it. You probably can, I don't know what your rights are in terms of arresting people, but it allows you to operate above the law for sure.
Right. Right.
And it helps.
Nothing good can come from, like, you're not doing it because you want to be like a.
It's not a bunch of the white troops running around.
Right. Like a crime fighter.
Right.
Like, it's not like.
Right. Exactly. No one's paying to do that. But I think what was weird to me, and I should be at a point where now I'm not surprised, but I'm ridiculously earnest about the wrong things. I keep believing that Donald Trump, take Donald Trump off the table because I don't want to sound crazy. It continues to shock me that Donald Trump does these things. Like, he could have just said nothing.
I know. He's
but
like,
to
intervene here. But I mean, it's always like, I mean, this is a moment where basically, because I mean, it's not like he's just new about this. He's just so busy into the news of, where's this again?
That's the funny part.
Random. Like, it's not even that. It's more like, all right, well, people are like, okay, we know who we can get to work this on our behalf. Let's get Donald Trump on the case. And
exactly.
He's finding ways to kind of say like, all right, how can I, ingratiate myself to, my base, and it's like, all right, they'll appreciate this. This is something they can get behind. Really?
That's exactly it. You're right. He's not checking the Culpeper Sheriff Department.
Right. He's like on their
Police
Twitter page, like, wait, what happened?
Right.
Like,
He doesn't follow like mainstream news.
right.
But what's interesting is, and we saw this last week in South Africa, where Donald Trump literally was chastising the president of South Africa for white genocide. And all of his talking points, your face was stuck on that eye roll for like a solid 10 seconds. It was perfect. Donald Trump was literally chastising the president about white genocide, and all of his evidence were like these right-wing extremist news sites that it was all manufactured evidence. It was like Pizzagate or some shit. Like it was just completely. I've never seen a president not fact check, not get talking points, even from like normal people on his side of the aisle. Right. And he's doing it at the highest levels. The president of South Africa was like, "I promise you, sir, there is no
no evidence of anything.
This is bonkers." Yeah,
the age of social media and everyone with where is it?
This is stupid. But the thing I wanted to ask you about with regard to all this, and it is kind of, if the Derek Chauvin thing happens, if he pardons Derek Chauvin, and Derek Chauvin has some state charges too, so ultimately I think he still stays in prison. But after all the George Floyd uprisings and everything, if he pardons Derek Chauvin, who to me is like clearly did it, I don't think there's any doubt that he did it. Even people who normally don't take, this side of the activists sort of took that side in 2020. Do you see another like explosion on the ground? Does it matter? Are people over that? What do you think happens?
I mean, it's interesting because we just had the anniversary. Right, so it's obviously on people's mind, but people probably have like, oh wait, has it been 5 years already? They're like, wait, what's happened? I mean, honestly, I can't see that being no, I can't see that being the tipping point at all. I think that people are just kind of, I mean, think about the things that everyone's kind of gotten inured to the nonsense, right, and the pain of just the everyday, and sort of like, I mean, we're watching a live, genocide, so like every day, like I feel like that's not moving people to, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine that being something that moves the needle here, but
what will?
Yeah, and I can see him doing it just again because he seems to be trying to figure out how, as he sort of strips his poor and white, like poor and working class white base of their actual resources that they need to live and thrive, like healthcare, like Medicaid and all these other things. It's like he's gonna have to follow up with some good old fashioned white supremacy to kind of make sure that they're still, taking
your jobs and your money.
Like I don't, so he's gonna need to do something that makes them feel like, okay, he still cares about the things we care about, like not food and not education and not and not healthcare, because apparently that's less important than making sure that white is right and that it wins ultimately in these ridiculous battles here.
Do you think there's anything that can tip the needle now? Do you think there's anything that'll get the people out of their seats and like into the streets again, like we saw 5 years ago?
I mean, the weird thing about 5 years ago is sort of like, I'm still not even sure how that happened. I mean, a big part of it was COVID and was people wanting to be outside. So it's like, I mean, because that felt like there were so many other things that were happening that were comparable. I mean, granted, watching, that, which I've still never seen that video. I'm never going to watch the video of George Floyd, but, we've seen, I mean, we saw, what was the brother that shot in the car with which I did watch with the
Alton Sterling one?
Which one?
Was it, you talking about Alton Sterling?
Is it in the vehicle when like you watch him like get shot and you hear him get shot and the girl screaming in the back, like, did you just kill him?
Yeah, I think that's out. There's so many. I think that's Alton Sterling.
But like, I mean, we've seen murders happen before our eyes, and and that those didn't trigger these kinds of responses. So I think it was the right moment. And now everyone is sort of, I don't know if everyone's just kind of waiting for these years to pass, or like
that's what it feels like. We've almost
feels like it's like we just don't have the fight in, and every day, they just talk about, we were just getting inundated by just nonsense. Like, what is he doing? We're talking about a reality show now for people trying to, like, what are we trying to get? Like get visas or get refugees. I can't even remember which thing it was. It's always just so ludicrous, but
it's.
Yeah, I don't know if people have the capacity. I don't know if people have the capacity to sort of get out in the way they did at that moment.
I think that's right.
Because again, I wonder how the organization. I'm not even quite sure how the organization happened, and whether those kind of fronts are there to fight in the same way. I don't know.
There's a part of me, and I agree with everything you just said. There's a part of me that feels like we were just looking for a reason to be outside.
Yeah, because, I mean, there was a lot of that. Like people were feeling cooped up, and this was like, hey,
right? Because there was some people who I ain't never seen outside for that,
right?
And I didn't get the sense that they were being decided. I mean, some of it was just I just want to be outside. Some of it was like you after being cooped up and feeling so much after COVID. I see how that could happen. I see how somebody could feel that way, and want to be outside. And then the outrage of being stuck in your house and watching that death sequence with George Floyd over and over and over again was tough. And I think it drove people into a different place. I want to move to something a little absurd, but still serious, I guess.
Wait, sorry, I just thought about something too. I feel like another trigger would be another kind of murder. And some part of me thinks like, what kind of murder would be the thing to put people over the top?
Yes. What kind of murder? That's a good question.
What kind of murder will we need now to? Because I don't think Derek Chauvin. Yeah, I don't think a verdict.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I don't wish this on anybody. To be clear, between you, me, and the CIA, FBI, people would take to the streets. The wrong people. People would take to the streets if something would have happened to Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, like no, the right's definitely gonna. I was thinking that's a given. I'm thinking more like we'll get the left out. Like the right would definitely come out if.
Yeah, I can't think. I can't think of anything.
I mean,
have you lost faith in the left?
Talking about the radical left or like the liberals or like which?
That's the right question.
Big left, like
right.
Left, middle left, like what?
I don't even know what I mean when I ask it. I know I haven't lost faith with maybe I have.
I just don't think we're strategic enough. I don't think the left is strategic enough. When I look at what the right does, and I look at these documentaries, and I talk about this one all the time because it was one of those where it's like I didn't know this was going in that direction. That Duggar family, the Western left, where you're sort of looking at these sort of looking at the way the right strategizes. It's sort of it's fascinating to watch how they just poco a poco, like little by little, they just chip away and they kind of they're able to and be very patient. They're very patient. And again, they can get behind one another. I was having a conversation last night about the idea of unity, and it was like, well, things like Black unity and things like that. And I was like, oh, thinking about the right, and it's like, yeah, they're able to unify across major differences. I mean, you see people who have, like the evangelicals supporting Donald Trump, and it's like, what about, like,
ain't nothing evangelical about him.
Doesn't uphold any of the values that they claim, but they know that big picture he will sort of stick with, whether it's, I mean, at this point, I don't even know if he would, because he still sort of is a little bit waffles on the abortion issue.
He and Vance definitely have a tension there.
Yeah.
Many tensions, but
yeah,
but that's certainly one of the big ones. By the way, y'all, if you have questions for me or my special guest Melissa, who, by the way, if you don't know, is my wife. I assume that everybody in my audience knows that already, but maybe y'all don't. So yes, if you have questions for my wife, drop them in.
Your wife. It's so funny still.
Your wife. Mark has a wife. Melissa's
a wife.
Karen D said the left is too damn polite. Yeah. The right doesn't fear playing dirty to get what they want. That's so true.
They don't care.
And it's such an interesting challenge to me because I think about what happened to Al Franken.
Mm-hmm.
Where Al Franken was accused credibly of some kind of sexual harassment. I'm a journalist, so I say harassment. And
I say harassment.
He resigned. They forced him to resign. Al Franken was a powerful congressman, an influential one, a very smart and gifted one.
Yeah.
And probably at this point might be president. Who knows, right?
I'm very funny as a comedian for those who
are a very funny comedian. I want to talk to you about comedy tonight. It's one of the things I want to ask you about. Oh, come on, Ed. Grow up, Ed. And so the Democrats like, we're going to set a standard. We're going to live up to that standard. If you do it, you're out. Zero tolerance. Boom. And then the Republicans get faced with the same stuff, and the comparison is there, and they still don't do it. They say, "Fuck off."
Like, does this person take care? Like, handle? Will this person support our agenda? I don't care. Did he rape someone? Oh yeah, okay. Because I remember the moment when I thought grabbing by the pussies was it. Remember when we thought we were like, all right, this is it. This
right.
is it. Like we were like, white women, he's been like a no. This is it. This is it. And then we're like, wait, nope, we're just gonna like brush that, like sweep that under the rug and keep it moving. I was like, okay, like they're here to play. They're playing with fire here. Like they're cooking here. They don't care.
They don't care. I mean, I was dumb enough, again, being earnest around the wrong things. I remember, thank you, Rolando. You took the words right out of my mouth. I remember the summer before the election when they had Donald Trump, and we already thought Donald Trump wasn't going to win. And then we ended up saying it while I was at CNN at the time, and we were like, "Hey, he's going to just let him show his little speeches." Then when this thing came out with Billy Bush and him saying he was going to grab women by the private parts and all the stuff he said, everyone's like, "Okay, well,
we're like, wrap this up. All right, next."
Right. Hillary's like booking, event space,
right.
And not only did it not matter, it almost like made his base stronger.
Like he keeps it real. What? Like,
right.
It's like, it's like okay, like white men are like, I mean, who hasn't done that? Right? Who hasn't grabbed some woman by the
right? That's basically what he said. And then calling it locker room talk. I'm like, I've been in a decent amount of locker rooms. I ain't never heard that one. Like, this was weird behavior, even for as Keyshawn said, the white men ages 24 to 65 or men. There was a way that, like, bro, like, this is a lot. This is creepy.
It still mattered. It was like, even if because obviously these people are like sexual harassment when it comes to women. It's just, I mean, it's such a norm. Part of the way of operating in the world. But it's like people are not like just openly, brazenly like, all right,
it was something else.
Talking about that proudly, like, I mean, because again, it wasn't that he was just mentioning it. He was like, it wasn't like it was like, like, this is what I did, this is what I do, this is what you need to do. Like, like, I was like, wait a second, you're
right.
You're
like, how is it the thing?
Sort of talking about these assaults.
It was mad weird. All right, we got a question coming in, a very important question coming from the community, from Omega. Melissa, are you hiding the salt and vinegar chips from Mark? We ain't seen them in a while.
You haven't had the chips in a minute, actually. I thought you were gonna bring them out.
You guys had a bag of chips, right?
You haven't. I haven't seen you. You know what? You're trying to be better about health too. Is that what's going on?
I live a healthy lifestyle. These people think I just sit around eating chips all day.
So I haven't had to hide it. Oh, I have been thinking about those little juice boxes.
You know about the boxes?
I haven't seen the gummy bears either.
Okay, so since you mentioned it, so y'all, yes, we have a 3-year-old, and if you were to walk into our home and look in our refrigerator, you would see honest juice boxes, and you'd be thinking, oh, they're trying to cut down the amount of sugar that the baby takes in by giving him these healthy juice boxes. Our child has never had a juice box. I think he's had one juice box in his life.
And that's probably when he has tonsils out. Like he had juice. We let him have juice.
I buy the juice boxes for myself and I drink them. And yes, they're only 6 or 8 ounces. And yes.
But then he used to drink like 4 of them. I was like, just get a bottle of juice. Like little.
But the problem is the big people juices
like somebody on a bender. Like it's just tossing back juice boxes. Like what's happening?
Well, it's because all the grown people juices are too sweet and they're too much of them.
But you just can't do water. If you've all noticed the hint thing, he just can't do regular water. The man cannot look at him. Just hints. Got to have some kind of flavor, and that has some kind of essence.
There is no sugar in this.
What is the essence? I don't understand an essence.
Can somebody break down the essence for me, please?
And the hint, like it's very weird. Like I'm like, what is this? Is it? Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Again.
Thank you, Chris.
But
Chris,
you're gonna have to start bringing a bottle of water to the gym. Is that what you text me? What was it about?
because I've been doing a lot more training, and so I was like, I just really be needing water, and it's like going to my bag every day and bringing stuffing 3 of these in there isn't helpful. And when I'm training outside now, I feel like one of these might be better.
Oh, welcome, welcome.
I know. The reason I texted you this is because my wife's been telling me to bring a water bottle for like a gajillion years. But there's a snitch in the room, Bullet the Bunny, who you've met.
What? You eat gummy bears at Joe's? Shame, shame, shame.
So it was just one day. How did you even see that? But it was one time in like 8
Everybody
months.
sees everything, Mark.
Apparently, but I didn't eat the whole bag. I shared them with everybody, except Ish. I think Ish ate a couple. Ish has lost like 20 or 25 pounds in the last like month, 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he looks great. He looks absolutely great. We all said that. I mean, he said he's cut down the sugar. When you cut the sugar, it goes like that. Especially with that boot on him, you know, it was like I need to make sure I stay healthy. Joe says he's on Ozempic.
Is he?
No, he's not on Ozempic. Joe, they're bullying him. They're trying to bully him. Him and Flip say he's on that Ozempic, but
wait, he said I thought Joe saying that he's on Ozempic. I was like,
no, Joe's not on anything. Joe's working out and training, but
yeah,
you know they have to compete. So he's like, oh well, you know, he's losing weight. Oh, it must be that Ozempic. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just healthy living. So he wouldn't take the gummy bears. But Snitchy Von Snitcherstein here, Bullet the Bunny, said, I had a bag one because I was having a really rough day and I was tired. And so the gummies got me through the episode.
Again, I mean, you know, in terms of vices, look, right? It could be far worse, right? But the sugar thing is a thing for this one. And we all have, you know, we all have the diabetes.
Yes. I told all my castmates that I have a issue with sugar so that they could watch me. Because I don't want, you know what I mean? You said what? Enablers?
Enablers.
Oh, I'm just since you know I believe in transparency. I also had a bottle of 2 bottles of juice delivered to Joe's house. Tropicana Twisters.
Mind you, we had something for Mother's Day. He's like, let's get these bottles out of the house so I don't drink them. We gave them away. Meanwhile.
Oh, you know what? I didn't have them delivered. I'm sorry. I brought them to Joe's. But I poured out the really sweet ones, but I brought some to Joe's. I actually didn't get them. I was going to Uber Eats them, but I didn't. But I brought them for everybody else, but apparently no one else drinks them.
Oh. See?
They're better than me. Thank you. I think Tonya Tamika said fruit essence is distillate water from fruit. That's right. Okay. From fruit concentrate, highly aromatic fruit air, basically. There's no actual
have its flavor. Where's the flavor come from?
It's just an essence. It's like
it's because it's still a flavoring.
But it's hard to explain. But
you're sniffing it,
you're not actually tasting anything. There's no sugar in it.
Though.
No, you're not tasting any sugar.
You're tasting something though. I don't understand how there's no calorie. I don't know. This is.
He hasn't. Dallas is fine as Jazz LP. You are also.
Yeah, I've seen the donuts. But yeah, you don't eat the donuts though.
I don't really eat the donuts. I occasionally eat like a piece of a donut. But
I mean, donuts are tough, man. That's deep fried bread with sugar. I mean, you can't. I mean, for those who like sweets like we do, you just got to keep it away. Deep fried bread with sugar. You know, Kim, my friend, I took my friend Kim yesterday to BAM to Dance Africa to the bazaar, and she'd never seen a funnel cake. She's like, well, she's from London. What's a funnel cake? Kim, are you out there?
I hard to explain funnel cake to somebody how it's not like complete.
I was like, you see that thing that they're frying and putting? They're gonna put powdered sugar on that. It's gonna be delicious.
Exactly. So
deep fried with sugar. It's just come on. It's all the things. Bread deep fried with sugar. Like it's just all the things.
Isaac himself.
Oh my gosh! When this one got on Liquid Death and thought that he was doing something, I was like, "It's water." I was like, "Please don't let these." I was like,
"See, when a black man try to drink some water,
well for the Liquid Death."
Liquid Death was amazing.
But that was it. LaCroix. Like, how do they pronounce it? Because
LaCroix,
remember, that was the
it's
first thing
LaCroix.
that you transitioned to. That was first.
LaCroix was my first one.
That was like pandemic was like the LaCroix, and then you were complaining because you'd always get the flavors that you didn't like.
They would be like, we have grapefruit, prune. Like, who the fuck wants this?
No one drinks this.
No,
and then you transitioned from LaCroix. Then came the hint, or is this something?
Then came the hint. Yeah, baby. The hint came.
You've been on the hint for a minute now.
I'm feeling
and
really
the honest
good.
Juice boxes when things get bad.
When I'm hitting the heavy stuff.
Like, right, you need to hate. Like, we don't honest Juice boxes.
Sandy said, Mark, I was wondering if you had any thoughts on Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso. No. I just don't have the expertise on it. I've covered it here the last few weeks, so you can look in the archive and see we've talked about it a bit. He's certainly a transformative figure, but I need to get into the weeds to understand. He inspires very strong feelings, as many sort of transformative African leaders do, and I just don't know enough about. The headlines make it seem like he's doing something extraordinary, but I don't know enough to have an opinion on it, and I don't want to comment on it because I just don't know enough, and I just want to leave it there. Do you have anything? Do you have any thoughts?
No. I'm like, this is something I'm like, no, I have something new to look into.
Yeah, it's worth looking into. And again, I have an expert coming on to talk about Burkina Faso. I have two experts coming on to talk about Burkina Faso next Wednesday or Thursday. So we're going to do it.
And you'll be on some more by then.
Thank you for your contribution, Rolando, as always.
Now I gotta look up.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Let's see. Oh, hello, Ibrahim.
So what are y'all rules?
Born in 88.
Goodbye, Ibrahim.
Bye, Ibrahim.
Why are y'all now? Everybody's looking up.
Right, everyone's like, wait.
This is nice for y'all. Y'all are losing focus.
Oh wow, that smile.
Let me look this dude up.
He looks a little like I feel like a rapper that I'm like. Who does
that you finish that thought?
No.
Because if you don't, my audience will.
Right. He looks like somebody that I've seen on television and did not know it in any way personally.
This is not the place to have incomplete sentences.
Right. I'm like, right.
My wife likes to pause before she finishes the sentence.
Right. Like somebody that
not here.
Used to know.
No edit was not on the syllabus. So where do y'all stand with this?
We are focused on fire revolution. I mean, if you could, the combination, you know. We were just talking to Party about just how fine Malcolm was.
Here's a good question.
Oh. Name one. That's tough.
No, not just name one. She's saying if you can name one, meaning like maybe you don't have one. You read that far more generously than these jerks mean it.
I know. No, there's so many things about you, honestly. That's a tough one. What do I love about this guy here? Oh man. I mean, part of it is that there have been different things with over time, you know, like we started this. All right, listen, love affair, turned married. No, we started this back in 2010. So there have been definitely iterations. You ain't got a break. Definitely the humor was the first thing, honestly. Although he alleges that I thought he looked cute. I say he looked cute in his beater, but
you were flirting with me.
I was not. I was just commenting. You know, you had your little muscles out.
This is what she says to me, right? She walks up. No, I'm not gonna say you walked up to me. I was having a party at the crib, and you said, "Oh, I see you with your little T-shirt on," and you were looking me up and down when you said it.
I was not looking you up and down.
What were you looking at?
I was just like looking you straight in the eye, like, look at you.
Who does it? Why do women lie like this? Right.
Look at you, sir.
Look
you
at you.
Like you have been in the gymnasium. You have been, you know, performing exercises in the gymnasium, sir. And you know, and honestly, it was like, what happened? I mean, you know what it was too. I kind of thought you were a little, you were a little square, right? Y'all know.
So well. So well.
I thought you were a little, so like to see you kind of like with your little guns out and your little, you had a little beater on, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, but I was not flirting. I was more like surprised. I was like, well, look at you, young man.
It was a pity. Wow.
Look at you. Look at you. I thought you just read books.
Wow.
You do more than read books. Okay. So I was just more like that, yeah. So that's yeah. I may have been a little taken aback.
Oh, I can see you was taken aback.
Whatever.
I was like, fellas, we got him. We got him.
But again, it wasn't until I saw you in a suit at the baby shower, because I didn't really see you at that, and then you acted the ass in that barbecue. So it was it was all mess. I didn't see you in that way. It wasn't until the baby shower that I saw you had the suit on, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, and then you were like, yeah, I'm going to New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, should we exchange numbers? And I was like, okay. I guess.
Wow. I guess.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I guess. Yeah, but all that to say that I think the humor was the thing that struck me when we first started like chit-chatting, right? Like on Google Messenger, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Google Messenger.
Google Messenger. I think he had an event. That's why he had the suit, right? You were coming from an event.
Yeah. I was coming from a speech.
It was at Dave & Buster's, so it really didn't need a suit.
I was driving from Philly to Baltimore and back. It was one of them things where, it was a reason why I had a suit. I wasn't being extra.
Right. Are you doing the most at the baby shower at Dave & Buster's?
Right.
But like,
right.
I've been callous. No, but yeah. So then when we started chit chatting, I was like, oh, he's funny. Like, funny. I like funny. And I was like, yeah, you cute too. I was like, yeah, you're bright, and you about that revolutionary life. And I was like, okay, check. The politics were right in alignment. And then those are those initial things. And then again, it was a back and forth for a decade.
Right.
Which when we ever do a show, we'll talk more about those details.
Right.
But but I mean, honestly, as a father, like, man, you're killing it. I gotta say, you're killing it. I know. You really are. I don't think he always feels it, but like, makes me kind of emotional. But like, man, especially because I've seen women, sisters, man, just experience terrible things with their partners and have to do so much. And I'm like, man, I really had like a like, not on some like where most men do a little bit and they get like, oh my God, you're so amazing for doing the most basic of things. Like, no, like not in that way. Like, genuinely, it takes on a lot when it comes to being a husband and a partner and a father. So I think that is right now, I have to say that's probably the biggest. I mean, because even with my mom, like, he's just he's very much about family. He's sort of taken on a lot of responsibilities now. So at a time where I'm working really hard to finish my book and need the time, he sort of just stepped up in a way that I was like, really. I mean, not that I did, but you don't really know. It's not really until, you can sort of, you watch when you date and you try to see how people move with their families and things like that, but you don't really know until you're in it how someone's going to, step up to the plate when things are challenging and when, we need, I mean, that's very legitimate. I see Omega, like the idea that everything will, I've seen it over and over again. And so that's why I'm always like, listen, sisters, and general, everybody needs to be very, very, very just careful with who they partner with. Because I think that's one of the greatest decisions you can ever make in your life, the most important, particularly having kids. Who you have children with will determine the joy in your life, the finances, the time, almost everything in your life will be determined by who you select to be a partner, and who to be the particularly partner of parenthood. And so he's sleeping. I don't know.
I think she means in the past. Like sometimes, like I'll be like, hold on, I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, no, especially
when you be away.
I mean, he'll. I mean, he's bringing him to class. I mean, really, honestly, just so I can write and finish. I mean, these last few months have been really difficult in terms of trying to get the book done. And I finally, wrote the conclusion recently, so it feels like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, so beyond all the other things, I mean, obviously the politics, and I think, it's also always funny to me when people think that you're like caping or like, trying to like holler at women. That's why you do. I'm like, nah, this dude has a genuine like appreciation and values women in a way that it's just so real. And it's like I want to see more of that. And it's interesting because when we went to Malcolm X's 100th birthday celebration at the Shabazz Center on Monday, and Lauryn Hill was there, and she was talking about, and you could see it just felt very personal.
Yeah.
Like when she was talking, she was just talking about Malcolm X, and one of the things that she sort of marveled at him was the way that he sort of took care and protected women and took care of the protected women in his life. And it's like, yo, man, like that is a very huge deal. And to just, again, because the reality is a lot of folks in these movements, they ain't shit either. A lot of these men in these movements are out here talking one thing and living something else. They're living something else in their personal lives. And that's the, and if anyone's ever seen, did I mention this before, that No documentary, the sort of Black woman rape documentary?
Oh, Aisha Saeed Simmons.
Yeah, Aisha Simmons, like heartbreaking. When I watched that, it was at Brooklyn Restoration when it first sort of premiered. And I just remember being struck by, these women in the civil rights movement and everything, just talking about the abuse and the rape, like, by these figures. Obviously the Black Panther part. I mean, there's just so much of that. And so people are just not living in alignment with the values that they sort of profess publicly. And so I have to say, everybody's flawed and everyone's got their things. So I do want to fight Mark historically over many things, but yes, broadly speaking, he has definitely sort of I think he lives by a lot of the things that he says, which is actually, I mean, the consistency is important.
Terracotta Kim said, if they are in the same house, why do they have two different backgrounds and
we have two different offices? Yeah. I'm upstairs in the office and he's in his office.
Exactly. We have very different offices.
This is my first office in the house. So this is my very first home office. So we are definitely fortunate to have two offices at the house. So he's downstairs and I'm upstairs in mine.
Different color schemes, different styles.
Yeah, like we picked, like he's down with the red and the kappa, and I'm mine is yellow and sort of blue denim here and a little cream, and then we do some green up in here.
With green. The Howard in the background as always.
Right. That's my dad's pennant. So, yeah.
Although you're a Howardite as well, just to be clear.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm actually surprised that
it didn't come up.
It didn't come up. We've gone this long without mentioning
it. I feel like it didn't really have to.
Right.
It'd be like an overkill. It'd be like double Nelly or something.
Fair enough. Michael Washington, thank you for the generous donation. Michael said, "Did you catch the Karen Hunter Dyson talk? There were some tangents to your talk with Joe and Pierce." No, I haven't seen it yet. Dyson did call me a few days ago and tell me that he was on, but we didn't go into details about what it was about. He just mentioned in passing that he was on, or that maybe he was going to be on. I don't remember, but I'm looking forward to it because I know Karen was very critical of Mike. I can't remember for what. Oh, I do remember for what. The issue with the woman, white woman, congresswoman.
Right.
But I don't remember the details. I honestly literally don't remember the details of the debate in terms of the Karen Hunter. And I know Karen Hunter also does a wonderful show with our brother and friend Greg Carr. So I'm interested to see
who's Howard.
Who's a professor. Yes, he's former chair of African American Studies, current professor at Howard University. And I know, that's a whole other thing that we need to talk about at some point later, because he and Professor Jared Ball, just had a brief contretemps. And so we'll talk about that next week when I get into I need to hear Greg Carr's response to Jared Ball to understand the nuances of it. But no, I haven't caught the talk yet, Michael, but I will. I think overall, there's a bigger question that we're circulating right now, which is how do we talk about things? Not just what are we talking about, but how do we talk about them? And how do we talk about them in the context of a community of care? Like how do I lovingly critique someone? How do I lovingly challenge someone? And does my approach to talking to Karen or Mike change versus talking to Piers Morgan, for example, or the racist assholes that were on Piers Morgan? Like how do we have those conversations in different ways? So we'll talk about that next week. But I wanted to give you, I want to acknowledge your question. Also, Baby K, thank you. No questions, just some Dream Team appreciation. I appreciate that. Kismet said, Greg Carr is amazing in that office full of books. He can mention and reach out and find each. Yo, let me tell you something. Greg Carr is a machine. I have decent recall and I've read a lot of books. Greg Carr is like, there's just levels. If there were like another degree on top of the PhD for having read all of them, but like he would have that one. Like Greg is just brilliant, and he's a master teacher. And I think that's something that people don't value enough. I'm sure you've heard that.
Right?
Yeah, you guys kind of intersect. I think he was like finishing his PhD or had just finished it.
Right, because I feel like but yeah, I feel like I remember everybody loving him. So maybe I was already, because I was in Afro-American studies too, but I never took him, and I remember people loving him. So I don't know.
Yeah. Our mutual friend took a course with him, but I think I don't know if he had the PhD or maybe he just got it, but I know he was new to Howard. He was like maybe like a first or second year when y'all were like junior, senior year.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes Howard will hire you while you're writing the dissertation.
Right.
I just don't remember.
I just never had the pleasure, the honor of sitting in his class.
Amazing. He and I sat together one night with my best friend at Nate Norman's house, who's a former chair of AFM at Temple. And we sat there, and it was kind of a debate. It was kind of just shit talking and flexing, but we must talk about 1,000 books that night between the two of us. And I mean, Greg had a mastery that I didn't have at the time, but it was just super dope, super amazing to see someone so learned and so studied who cared about us and was using the books to help us understand some shit. It was just beautiful, man. There's a question for you from Zakiya Simpson. I hope you don't mind answering this question.
Oh.
What is the book that you're writing about?
What is the book that I'm writing? I'm finally writing this, finishing this dissertation book. So this was my dissertation on Cartagena, Colombia. It might be, again, I don't know if it's going to keep this title, but it's tentatively called Calidad, Race, Worth, and Urban Change on the Caribbean coast, on Colombia's Caribbean coast. And so looking at gentrification, I'm looking at culture, I'm looking at race and value and how people determine who's worthy of occupying very prized space. And so I'm looking at gentrifying neighborhood in Cartagena, Getsemani. And so this work started in 2011. Yeah, in 2011. And I finally got to go back in January and sort of really see what's happened when you're doing gentrification work. It's evolving. I just was in Brooklyn yesterday and was sort of marveling at those changes there. And so, yeah, but it's a bunch of different levels of analysis. So it's at the national level, it's at the city, it's at the regional, then it's neighborhood, and yeah, we're gonna see. You know, hopefully it'll be like for real done by the end. Well, at least it's gonna go out to the publisher in June. So it's gonna be on Oxford University Press. It
is fire. It's an amazing book.
Yeah. That's actually never think of gentrification outside of Black and white. Oh yeah. And so, I mean, there's a piece that I wrote a while ago, sort of on looking at sort of global. Gentrification in the global South? I'm globalizing the sociology of gentrification, thinking about sort of gentrification in the global South. And a lot of people in other contexts say like they don't necessarily like using the word, and so that's why I say urban change, but it's, you know, it's gentrification, but it's also a little bit kind of like, you know, I want to be respectful of that some people say that's not applicable outside of Western context, but some people absolutely do say that. And now in the community itself, you know, uses the word gentrification. Puerto Rico is another, again, places that are, and yeah, Puerto Rico too. But yeah, and so looking at where, what's sort of driving the different, displacement, dispossession processes that are happening in these places. But places, obviously, tourism is a big one, and sort of foreign investment. Being a UNESCO World Heritage Site, all these kinds of things are kind of fueling this in this neighborhood, which now is sort of wild to look at, to see how popular this neighborhood has gotten when it was like not on anybody's radar when I first arrived. And so, I mean, I just happened to be in a moment, and because I've done work on gentrification in DC, in Washington, DC, when I was at Howard and in Harlem, you just kind of know when you see it, you sort of like, huh, this is interesting. Like, y'all are not going to be here in a few years. And so that's kind of how that project really took off, because I was there just to kick it at first. First time around, I was like, I was in Bogota, and I was like, I need the warmth. People tell me I should go to a place. I'm out. And so that's how I ended up there. But yeah, I'm hoping to finally wrap up this project and move on to the next one. This one's been a long time coming.
And I want to ask you about that next thing. I realized there's a story I didn't cover. And I want to cover it really fast. Partly because I need to cover it, but partly because I actually care about your opinion on this. Diddy's lawyers want to erase a bombshell moment from Kid Cudi's testimony. I mean, literally erase it. They're asking the judge to throw out Cudi's claim that Diddy firebombed his Porsche over Cassie.
He doesn't have any evidence of that, so right? Like,
let me just run through the story real quick, just to show people. I want to be fully journalistic here. Take a look at these images that were submitted into evidence. Again, I'm not making any judgments about whether he's right or wrong. I just want to show you the images that were submitted into evidence. This was the car seat. Boom. This is the door. I mean, something was definitely blown up, obviously. Government Exhibit 3F105. We don't know who did it. I'm not making any allegations. I don't know nothing. It was by the time he was done.
I'm about to say.
He was like, take that. He was a legend. Anyway, last week, Cudi told the court that he knew Diddy was behind the 2012 Molotov cocktail attack on his car. But when pressed, he admitted that there were no witnesses, there was no proof, no fingerprints, just a gut feeling and a memory of Diddy allegedly apologizing years later. Now Diddy's legal team is begging the court to cut that from the record, calling it unfair and irrelevant. Meanwhile, Diddy may be locked up. We know that. But his money still flying. Literally, I mean, listen, the U.S. Sun says that he's been renting out his $60 million private jet on the low since last September. The jet's been booked over 120 times. It's racked up close to 150,000 miles. And it's stacking more than $4 million in cash. So even behind bars, Diddy is still building wealth. But he's also trying to burn Cudi's firebomb story out of the courtroom before it sets his case on fire. So there's two pieces there. The first piece that I want to get is maybe even three. First piece, of course, is Diddy's ask unreasonable? As much as I find Diddy's allegations disgusting and deplorable, it doesn't seem like there's any evidence that he blew up the car.
When he first did it, I sort of thought, like, this sounds like speculation. Like, why was this not stricken immediately? Why wasn't there objection? Like, that's here. Like, there's no basis for this. You just said I'm sure he did it.
Right. I mean, in fairness, he said that Diddy apologized to him for blowing up his car. So that's where I guess it becomes not hearsay. Right. Because it's not like
he said he vaguely remembers him saying that
That's the part that's weird to me. The whole Cudi thing. And let me be clear. I think Diddy blew up his car. I
absolutely think he did that. Like, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And Cassie's testimony.
I don't understand how it even proceeded. I don't understand why they even let it get this far, and then they're trying to I don't.
Yeah, it seems like nobody thinks he didn't do it. I think the question, but and I love this community because we're all like, yeah, he did it, most likely, but like the rules still have to be fair, not because we want to protect Diddy.
Talk about. Like, I mean, just because we don't like something or just somebody's a terrible person too, there's a way that we still have to adhere to. You know, the process, because otherwise I can say, like, I think a lot of people did shit, like, like this whole thing. Right. To me, the B&E, like, you just came up in my home, and also in the dog and everything. Like, I mean,
locked the dog in the bathroom, and then at some point he allegedly blackmailed his mom and made the mom like sign over the deed to the house, and then like extorted 20.
Wait, what?
Yeah, allegedly he threatened to expose Cassie on a sex tape unless his mom coughed up the bread. And at one point, I think she signed over the deed to the house.
Wait, why? Wait, did he do this?
Yeah.
To Cassie's mom?
Yeah.
Why would she care? You care about money?
It's never about money.
Right. It's about power.
That's the point. That's what made it sound sicker.
Because I'm like, why would he care about her little house? I'm sure she doesn't have a house that's comparable to anything that he has.
And at one point, she coughed up $20,000. I mean, can you imagine? Like,
so wait, this woman paid Sean Combs $20,000?
Yeah, allegedly. Here's a piece from the New York Post. Excuse me, just and other people have reported this, so don't trust. It's not. I'm not saying because it was in the Post. It's just the first thing that came up. But Diddy demanded Cassie Ventura pay him $20,000 and threatened to release explicit freak-off videos of her in a jealous rage over her relationship with Kid Cudi. That's what his mother testified last Tuesday. The revelation came out as the singer's mom, Regina Ventura, took the stand and detailed how she and her husband took out a home equity loan to pay the music mogul's outrageous ultimatum.
That is disgusting. Yeah.
I mean, again, that's their side. Diddy has his own side. I doubt he'll take the stand, but
the interesting thing is there's got to be some paper trail of that.
Well, there is, but the issue is Diddy says, because there's always a reason.
Because why would they ever need to give to this man $20,000?
Right. He said that he did it to recoup money he spent on Cassie. That was the argument that he made, or that they say he made. Again, we'll find out what really happened. If Diddy ever testified, or not what really happened, we'll understand what his version is, what his real version is, but we don't know. We do know that the mom transferred the money to a Bad Boy Records account. And then the sum ended up getting returned in 4 or 5 days. Because of course, again, it's not about, well, one, if you want her back, you can't extort her mom, and two, like, he probably didn't want that shit in his account. So we know the money was transferred. The only question is like the why of it. Yeah, so
yeah, it's 4 days,
and it's noteworthy that they didn't cross-examine the mom after that testimony. They let that rock, because what could they say? So this Diddy thing is wild, but we still don't want that part to happen. I guess there's and I don't care so much that he's renting out his jet and making money while he's in prison. I not because I care about Diddy, but because
from an environmental standpoint, I care like those jets.
Yeah,
like.
The jet thing is awful.
This is a private jet problem, but
right. But if any one of us had a business or something that we could make money off while we're incarcerated, particularly if we didn't do it, I'm always thinking about what if the person didn't do it. And how could their rights be protected? But the Cudi blowing up, it's
because also I wonder the other thing about these apologies too. I wonder what he actually said in that apology. Because he also could have been one of those policies where he alludes to something where it's like, we both know what we're talking about. But did he actually explicitly say that? Because again, that's just not going to work.
I think Diddy was assuming that if he did apologize explicitly, he assumed this is all like, no one's going to the police, and that Cudi would, after you blow somebody's car and hide their dog, you probably not telling, right? You probably like, look, let's just, right.
I got you. Shut up.
I have so many thoughts about Diddy in this case. One of them is, how wild is it sort of that Diddy has become the villain? I mean, I just remember 25 years ago, if not 30 years ago, listening to Diddy or listening to Biggie and Craig Mack and everybody, and Puff was the skinny one, he was the corny one, he was the quiet one, he was the weird one, he was the hustler, he was then he's had all these iterations.
Right. Because then he moved from that to be like the dude that basically everyone said didn't produce and sort of bought everybody's beats. But he also, like, I remember, like, in terms of like the locks, it's like, oh, this dude really does terrible contracts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he does he gives people terrible, unfair contracts. And then we all kind of fell in love again with him, in making the band.
Making the band change the game.
Making the band, we were like, oh, he was cool. He was funny. Like, we were like, oh, this dude's the worst, but like in the best way. Like, it just, it was, and then to also think about what was going on behind all those things. I mean, all those people, again, like this is a crazy thing that Mark, I've told you, but I remember when I was out of college, I was like, my dream job was like, oh, I would love to work with Daddy's House.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Diddy's house, but it's Daddy's house. Like that was my dream. I was like, I get to do nonprofit work for me, but like in a cool, like hip hop setting. Like I was like, that is the dream job. What a nightmare of a life I would have probably had. Like just imagine. Like now you just sort of picture everyone just being, I don't know, being assaulted and doing it right. Yeah.
There's so much awful stuff happening there.
Maybe because I see somebody say maybe because of the Howard thing too, like the hazing of that whole thing. I just found humorous, which is probably not good. But like like we're just like, oh, he's just hazing the shit out of him. Like it was yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Diddy was the commencement speaker at Howard, was he not?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Let me tell you something about Howard people. They will claim everybody who went to Howard. And that's the same thing Central High School people say about Bill Cosby now. They used to claim him all day. Now they be like, yeah, he went to Germany. He graduated from Germantown.
Oh, he left? I didn't realize that.
Bill Cosby leaves everything. He left Temple, didn't graduate. Then they gave him a degree on life experience. Bill Cosby. Did I say Diddy?
No, you said Bill Cosby, but he left. I didn't realize he left Temple too.
No, he didn't finish Temple. They gave him a degree based on life experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of life experiences and get degrees for those.
And word. Sealand said, what does Mace say? Mace ain't saying much. Mace brings out the popcorn every once in a while, but for the most part.
Mace actually has a platform to talk about this right in the moment. It's true. What is Mace? Yeah. Gang, man.
Yeah, Mace is laying low, and I don't know why. There's a million reasons. You could speculate why. It could be legal, it could be personal, it could be spiritual. There's a lot of things going on with Mace, sort of how he thinks about the world. But I think he just doesn't want to be at the crosshairs of any of this. I think he just wants to watch this play out. I think at some point you will hear from Mace.
Yeah, because has Mace said anything in terms of like
when Diddy got arrested, he kind of.
I mean, like he doesn't. He was in the mix. Like, I mean,
he was and he wasn't. I mean, this is the good thing about. I mean, because Mace was there in the mid-90s. He blows up obviously in 98 after Big dies, and then by 99, 2000, he was going again. He was in Atlanta. By the time Double Up came out,
it didn't take long. I mean, that's still a long time.
I'm saying he saw something, but he doesn't have. He's not like one of the people that's around for a decade or 10. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think he could. All I'm saying is he has plausible deniability. He could be like, I ain't see nothing. I made my record and left. And I think that's probably best for everybody.
I think it's a little bit easier for somebody who wasn't his like. I mean, they were making songs to get like it was his. It felt like his main man for some years. You know what I'm saying? Like you were at the parties, like, and again. So something we were talking about last night too, in terms of everybody was at parties, right? Like they were different levels of the party. I was not, but right. I don't judge everybody who was at those parties either. Like I have friends who were at those parties, and they weren't all like, their levels. I imagine. And
that's the problem with the word Diddy party now. Diddy party now. Like, first of all, most Diddy parties happen at clubs and other big spaces, and everybody in the city. When Puff came to Philly, Big came to Philly, whoever, Lil Kim came, there was a Diddy party. Diddy parties are the best parties in the world in the 90s and aughts. Then there's the crib party, like the Hamptons parties, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's the after party,
right?
And then there's the after party.
After party.
So going to a Diddy party isn't the issue. It's for some people they made it to those next levels. I don't know who did and who didn't. That's not for me to say, but there are just different levels to it. But now there's such a stank on
the idea.
People don't even want to say they don't even act like they never seen the man before.
Like, did he?
I ain't even heard Ready to Die.
Right. Right. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, what?
And the other thing is, there were a lot of people there who were at all the levels of the parties who we would be surprised to know or wouldn't be surprised to know, but they don't want to be outed either. So everybody's kind of laying low and not saying a word. The silence on this is shocking. I
was just thinking too the other day about just, for those of us who are 90s hip hop heads and man, it's just like everybody's just such trash. It's like we just can't enjoy. I mean, just obviously there's the horrific sort of side of it, but just as a personal social side, like the music that, you know, like All About the Benjamins was like our graduation song. That was and I was also song that kind of had a very long life that, you know, was starting Howard. It's just like it's sort of being stripped of things that were really meaningful for us musically.
For sure.
You know, and it's just like I'm like, oh God, nobody else. You know, but R. Kelly wasn't as hard as I thought it would be to sort of completely remove him from all music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I guess I didn't love Step to the Name of Love that much. Like, you know, like, you know, there's a way, you know, with Black folks, you know, having that, you know, at social, you know, particularly family events, but there's a way that, yeah, the 90s hop is hard in a different kind of way. Like if we just start, yeah.
All right. Since we're talking Bad Boy, I'm gonna move away from Diddy, but I am going to ask you to make. I just think you have to make some tough decisions in life. One of them got to go.
Uh-oh.
Lil Kim versus. I'm only gonna give you 3 because if I give you 4, you're gonna take the easy way out.
I'm about to say it's always one that's like, yeah.
Quiet Storm. Benjamins.
No, definitely not.
And what's the third one is I Can Love You.
Oh, it's gonna be. I have to be. I Can Love You, but I just it hurts to see it. I know. I love that one, but you know, All About the Benjamin that's my favorite, and then Quiet Storm.
You sure about this?
Quiet Storm is better, but I Can Love You. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna. It ain't right, boy. Like, I'm gonna go with the I Can Love You verse. I know.
I gotta think about this. Not that anybody asked my opinion, but
I would need to hear them again, like all 3, and then to really like see which one. I mean, I already know it's not gonna be All About the Benjamins because that's my favorite one.
What do y'all think, by the way, in the audience? Write in your choice. Which one do you choose? See, the problem is everybody goes, you want to get rid of that. How could you do that?
Right,
How can you do that?
But if I say All About the Benjamins, be like, you was a Quiet Storm, Mr. Real.
That's what I'm saying.
Hot damn. I mean, granted, that's a light slime, but still.
To recoup.
Yeah. Like.
Orlando said, "I'll die first."
Who you loving? Who you want to be hugging?
I don't know, man. Let me think.
Yeah, Rhonda. Yeah.
Quiet Storm for me is it?
That beat. I mean,
it might be Quiet Storm for me. The beat on Quiet Storm is so crazy, and it's like. But if you talk, competitor, I'm 10 steps ahead of you.
I know.
Coming to this game with some modeling. But then Benjamin's is so we used to lose our minds. Listen,
you know that part was like, forget it. Her verse was like, wait, started thinking. Like, it's like it's my time, you know. Like,
right. We went to see Mary J. Blige. Was it last month or a month before last? I think it was last month. Whenever, in April, early April, maybe. But when I Could Love You came on, man.
God, I wish Kim came out. That was the thing. I was really hoping for.
We were like looking at
a meth. Like, is meth gonna come out? I would have died. Like,
you would have.
Excuse me. Like,
you might have had a heart attack right there on the stage.
That's someone I would love to meet.
Method Man?
Mm-hmm.
So, ethical dilemma, fellas. Do you allow your wife or significant other to meet them?
Musical, respectful.
I'm sorry?
Just as a love of the music. Yeah.
The love of the music. All right, I'll introduce y'all via email so you can reply, CC me.
And then we can set up a time to meet. I think give us let's put us in contact so we can I mean, you know, like Beth is, you know.
True. I shouldn't okay, I don't mean allow in that way.
Thank you, Rolando.
I mean facilitate. Like
facilitate, right.
Right.
Like
I mean, I don't care.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I can't control who my wife meets. You know what I mean? I just mean, do I want to enable it?
Right.
do I want to be like, hey,
man, to enable Denzel because that love has been too long and too strong. Like
Denzel, I'm fine with. At this point in 2025, you can meet Denzel. You can meet Sidney Poitier too.
A little hard. It's a bit harder.
Shout out to the legends.
Yeah, no, give Denzel, Meth. Like, I did get to meet Allen Iverson. That was a big deal for my
yes,
15-year-old self.
Yes. Not only did I introduce you to Allen Iverson, because my wife is from Jersey and they're so cool. They don't want to like
whatever. Like I can't be playing myself and looking like a cornball. Just
right. So I saw AI. He gave me a hug. I was like, "Hey, my wife, can I take my wife wants to take a picture with you?" He was like,
"This is so awkward. Can you just say?"
And y'all took a cool ass picture.
Here's a question I have, and this is where folks can help because I really felt this on the event on Monday. Where is my hand supposed to go? North Jersey? How? No, not South Jersey.
I only posted that to make you.
Chris, how dare you? No, just kidding. Jersey. Again, it's when it's against other people, it's Jersey against the world. When it's otherwise
internal, you're like Camden. That's East Philly.
Right. But then also don't want Jersey to feel forced to be claimed by those people. But wait, so where am I supposed to put my arm when I take a picture with these people?
That's an interesting question. So
because again, I've taken pictures where I look really weird because my hands are like in front of my, and they're taller than me generally, right? Like, and so their arm will be here in a normal, safe, respectful space. But like, where's my arm supposed to go? Because I really just wanted to hug Kyrie fully with both hands, but I did.
So last week we went to an event and we got to hang out with Kyrie Irving, Fat Joe a little bit. We got to take a picture with Lauren. Lauren was doing her thing in the back and performed and did a master class in performing. Lauren bodied it. And each. So with Lauren, we did like a double picture. It was all three of us. I think all of our pictures with Lauren are kind of have been like the three of us. I was trying to let you just get your own one.
I cut you out of one though, because I was like, I have one with her by myself. I think it's because I cropped. I cropped you.
Right. Yeah, I was cropped.
You were cropped.
Fat Joe was cool in terms of that. So I'm just trying to get at different pictures. I don't have an answer because I don't care where your hands go.
I know, like you don't care, but I was feeling a little like, where's my hand supposed to go with these strangers? Like, is it weird if I put my hand on their waist?
So can y'all answer that for us out there? What's a cool, normal, respectful hand placement, arm placement supposed to be?
Right, because I've never, because again, I'm from Jersey, we don't give a shit, right? So like, I don't really take pictures with famous people before. Like, this is kind of new for me. Like, I just want to like, naturally, I'd be like, I don't take pictures with strangers, so I'm not used to taking pictures with strangers.
Well, it says hover arms is the way.
Like, just like acting like I'm holding their waist.
break that down, Bullet. Break it down with hover arms. We're gonna come back to that. Kismet says Christian side hug.
But it's like we're taking a picture. Where's my like? Again, I could see when we embrace, because there was a good video about this where a couple was it was hilarious. Where the sister was like saying like where like when a woman comes in for a hug, that was very funny. But it got me thinking like, where do I put my arms actually? And not on some like market, but and even in terms of being respectful of this person,
their space. So Bilal says I never touched my hands behind my back. That's something.
And this is gender too. Like I don't like.
So I've now graduated to, unless I know them somewhat well, I don't touch them at all. I do my hands in front of my arm.
And like I don't expect anyone to a stranger put their hand around my waist. That's the thing. Right. I'll be like, excuse me, unless again it's like meth and like.
Right. Unless you remember Wu-Tang Clan.
Like, please put your arms wherever you like, sir. Respectfully. But like like it's a little. Like their arms around me, and it's a very straight, right? Like, right?
Thank you, Chris, for your.
It's not awkward at all. Just
sure.
like, But like where, yeah, like again on some just as just it just I definitely I was like my arm feels like it's supposed to go here naturally. Always upper back, no touch. See, but again, that makes sense because he is taller probably than them. And so like that's where Mark would put like, you should never be touching anybody's back, Mark, as an FYI.
Unless it's Rihanna.
But where does my hand go like this?
I want to take your silence as a explicit.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said except Rihanna.
Where's your hand going for Rihanna?
Same way yours goes with Meth.
Oh, okay. I'm much more likely to see Meth than yours.
That is fair. That is 1,000% true.
But like, so upper back, so am I like doing this? So like Kyrie Irving, am I like?
I mean, these are unusually tall people as well, so that makes it.
Fat Joe wasn't that tall, but I definitely didn't know where to put my hand on Fat Joe.
That sounded crazy.
No. Wilds. Retract that statement. But like I don't know where to. Which again is not something I ever had to think about, like because I never took pictures. I'm trying to, and work pictures is easy. Like work pictures are like this, but if we're taking chummy, like
right,
like chummy.
Yeah.
And my picture with AI looks very awkward because I did not put my hand around it.
It does not look awkward at all.
Really?
AI made it cool because AI put his elbow.
Yeah,
like
AI looked like, and I just like he did like a
yeah.
He did something that like he's used to this.
Yeah, he did this shit effortless. Like that's a cool one.
For you who's taller, it's easy because again, like they all put their arm around my like I guess up here, so like it was very easy. But I was like, where? Like,
you said what? Right.
Or like yeah, that's it.
So we'll figure. Wait, let us see the picture, please. Which picture y'all want to see, Jazz LP?
I'll show you the picture.
Which one is it?
Because now I'm like, where was my hand? Yeah, I mean, like there's the Kyrie again, the Kyrie picture. We're best friends now, but whatever.
Yo, Kyrie is, by the way, Kyrie Irving is so cool.
That's the thing. I have to say, these folks are actually surprisingly nice.
Yeah, because I try not to even go. I don't go near the people who aren't.
Yeah, like
especially their reputation. I mean, I know Kyrie's so it's a little different, but we're not like besties. But like we're cool enough that we speak. He comes by when we're at the game, whatever, and he's just humble and he's come by. Which one is it?
The Kyrie one.
Email it to me. Email it to me.
Can I just text you?
No, because I have it. Oh. Email it to me so I can bring it up on the computer screen.
Gotcha. But this is. I literally have been thinking about this. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because I was like, as we go to more things, and I'm getting more comfortable with allowing you to say, "Hey, can you take a picture of my wife?" Which was still very uncomfortable to me, but I definitely am happy later on.
And I try to only do it with people who are cool enough.
You made Fat Joe like come back. He was like sitting down. That felt uncomfortable.
Well, Fat Joe needed to do that because after his Joe Budden seat remark, we needed to put Joe to work. We needed to put Joe to work a little bit. So, yeah,
that's fair. But yeah, I just want to be. I just want to be respectful, but also take a normal picture. That isn't weird.
All your pictures, to me, all the pictures look cool. So
these look cool because again, I was like, but they're just large people. And again, I'm tall, and I was really wearing pretty flat shoes that day.
But you're still tall, and so that makes it more complicated for sure.
Like, where's Kyrie's hand? Actually, his arm I thought was on my shoulder.
I don't even know if I saw that picture.
I don't know where the still are. See, you see Fat Joe's is. Oh my God, I'm cheesing so hard. But
it was a good day.
Terrible. It was a good day. It was long.
We'll pull the picture up, y'all. Other questions, drop your questions in. The super chat. That's incredibly important as well. How do you think this Diddy trial ends?
How does this Diddy trial end?
Let me ask a more. Do you think he ends up doing prison time?
I can't imagine him not getting convicted. I don't know what happens in terms of him actually doing time.
So let me take it another step. Conviction. Let's assume at some point he comes home, whether it's in 6 months, 6 years, whatever.
Mhm.
Does he ever become anywhere close to normal again in terms of his place in our lives, pop culture, the public sphere, any of that stuff?
That's a good question. I mean, part of it is the way that, how forgiving, because there are people now who I would think, what were we talking about the other day, where I was like, I never thought this person would ever have a moment to be able to come back, but yet the way that um the shifts in terms of what's acceptable. I mean, like, we're just finding more and more things that are just acceptable that weren't before. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I wonder, because, and also is it the same for Black people? I feel like white men are getting passes later on that.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm like, who else also has been this?
There's no real comparable.
Quite like this, because this is what we talked about. Like how many people have actually fallen from grace this hard?
OJ.
I'm not sure. OJ, but again, who's white?
Right, because all the Phil Spector, Harvey Weinstein people are kind of like, they never actually.
Like they weren't beloved popular figures that everybody knew.
And they never kind of made it back home, literally. So it's a little bit more challenging.
To get reintegrated into society after, shenanigans about, after just the stint.
It's tough. Mel Gibson a little bit, maybe Kevin Spacey. I hear see someone saying Karen.
Kevin Spacey apparently was like crying at the film festival, talking about cancel culture or talking about getting but again, he was there and he was somehow he was giving. I didn't even watch it, but but I saw some picture and I was like, oh, okay. So it's a moment where people are making their comebacks. And Mel Gibson, the right loves him. I mean, they somebody posted something about, they start getting into the anti-Hollywood kind of, and what's really is about the left. And when they started getting their sort of anti-Hollywood moves, and they were talking about people who like wouldn't be caught in all this shit that everyone's getting caught in. And so they made people were just, I mean, how many people put like Clint Eastwood and Mel Gibson, and people are just like, these people wouldn't get caught in the nonsense that, this is happening with the liberal left because they liberal Hollywood type of thing.
This is, I think that Diddy never makes it into, like, he's never running marathons and getting, he's never a pop culture darling again.
He's not a pop culture darling, but Black folks will
think
still
he could be at the BET
right now. I mean, particularly Black men. I mean, they're jumping and loving. Just let me stand up for all the abusers. Hey, Chris Brown. Hey, like all y'all.
Like this sexual thing with Diddy, right? There's a sexual complexity to this that the same people who may generally jump at the opportunity to support all kinds and.
But have you seen the comments?
Not so much. What did he say?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at the comments because again, he's like, it's because again, the homophobia and sort of the anti-queer. Because again, he's a lot. That's the part I don't like. I don't want him to be, sort of put on trial for for his sexual preferences and kink or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like kink shaming. Right. But again, obviously, this is more about the exploitation and violence. But it still seems like, and the thing everyone's just talking about again, like the why isn't Cassie, why isn't Cassie getting? Why did she leave? And again, the sort of victim blaming kind of thing.
Yeah.
That just people are just so comfortable with.
They love it. They love a good victim blame. I said they love a good victim blame.
Oh yeah.
I've had people say that the fact that she stayed is proof he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that, which sort of and that way is making him sort of exonerating him in the sort of minds of the public in certain ways, of like but yeah, it's yeah. So I can see him finding his way for at first. I don't think in the obviously at the level that he was before though.
No, I think that's right, but I think there might be a place for I also wonder. And I said this on JVP last week. I wonder if his route would be different or could look different if he ran toward the sexual identity piece. Like if he talked about it, if he became a queer figure. I'm not talking about like, you know, at the GLAAD Awards as a gay man.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what he is. But whatever sexual fluidity, like I'm wondering,
basketball player. What's your man?
There's so many jokes I can say right there. But who?
The brother who was with trans women and then at some point had, or no, I'm sorry, no, he wasn't. Wait, no, he wasn't with the one with the beautiful bone structure. Was with, it ended up being, and then that dude sort of tried to out him with the text messages, and then started to say that there was violence.
Oh, you talking about Dwight Howard?
Yeah, and then he sort of said to say like, you know, why y'all in who's in my bed? Like, you know, like,
once Dwight Howard stopped denying everything and said, look, you know, the conversation changed dramatically. I don't know if he could have had an NBA career if he had done that 20 years earlier. He was basically retired at that point.
Right. So it was over.
Yeah, he didn't play the game since, even though he's healthy. So it's complicated, you know. But I wonder again if those things could be different now in 2025 for Diddy. I'm like, Diddy could be the man on the Miami party scene. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying there are ways for him to make money. There's ways for him to be in the public. It'll never be like it was before. He's never given a graduation speech again, you know, but he could live a life in public. And I just don't know what it could look like. That's what I'm fascinated to think about. All right, Q Dog, slow down. Be easy. Annie from Decatur, watch some Georgia boys.
Decatur, where it's greater.
Yes. Sure. I'm progressive. Yes. Steven 84 said, thank you both in the night school space for giving us a place to just vibe and discuss freely. So much going at the same time. Bless your love. 100. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your generous donation, Zealand. I appreciate you. We're going to wrap it up in a second.
You still got to give me an answer on this picture thing.
Yeah, my wife is looking for picture answers, y'all. She needs the help.
Does he dance when it starts? So just to say too that there are options now that there just weren't before for people who are you know, sort of stigmatized and shunned. Like there's ways that you can find and again make your way, like doing Dance with the Stars. Yeah, again, that's the kind of thing that people do.
But like, I don't think Diddy could do Dances with the Stars now.
No. That's too wholesome family. He can't go the wholesome family route. He has to do something that's a little bit more alternative and
right. Dances behind bars. Let's see here. Oh wait, that's the same one. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can show this image easily. It may not work. Let's see.
Yeah. See, I don't even know where his hand is, but
see,
I don't know where does my hand go?
Right. See right there.
You zoom in.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to.
Yeah, just zooming on my boobs.
Oh God. All right. This is not going where I wanted to.
Please stop that.
Not the plan. Yeah, see, Joe's hand is on around his shoulder. Nice. So I suspect yours is on his upper back. See, that looks normal and fine.
I don't think mine is on his upper back. I think it might just be a cross. But maybe again, if I do the, maybe that's what I'll do. Just
yeah, and that's sort of what they were saying. And you don't even have to touch it. That's the hover part, right? So you can, so that way they don't feel uncomfortable with the touch. But
right. I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hover above.
I think that's. And both say they look. See, it's fine.
Yeah. Because again, it looked normal because I felt like I wasn't doing like I didn't do the AI one, or if there's one that was again really I felt like was awkward. I mean, I ended up doing a funny face with AI one, but it was like,
yes.
But yeah, it's just really always where the arms have to go. That's always a thing. Because even like Mark used to always jokes about how what do you hate? When people do this.
It's like it makes me so uncomfortable. And whenever people get on TV,
the first thing they do
is this. Whenever somebody hosts a TV show, they do this.
It's like but it's also weird because like you do it like where your arms, and I have very long arms. They just be all over the place.
It's the thing that everybody thinks TV people do, except nobody on TV ever does that.
And
And so,
they flip it around like
right.
what do I do with my hands?
And so the first thing I always do is be like, please stop doing that.
Right.
And so it bugs me out.
But I get too, because it's also like, if not, it gives some people like to wear a place to sit there.
I still struggle with it. I mean, I've developed a comfort on the camera, but like the first year or two when I was hosting, I did this too, and everybody made fun of me, and that's when I realized how bad it was. But I didn't know what to do. It's like suddenly you have these things growing out of your shoulders, you have no idea what to do with it because
What do I do with these? Right. Excellent. Yeah. And
all right, we should probably go to bed or something.
Oh yeah, no, we got a whole day tomorrow.
Yes.
We got a whole day tomorrow.
I got is that a compliment?
I know. Oh, Remy and Pat.
Yo, all right, before we go, just real quick on Remy and Pat. How much of
that's why everybody just stop talking. I want them to just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Like this is just, and I'm talking shit. We might just be out one day in the future. Yeah. But like I just can't imagine feeling like I should just keep this going publicly, and it's just embarrassing. I feel embarrassed for everybody. Like just stop.
I agree. I think they should stop. We don't need to be in the group chat. Take us out of the group chat. That's the first thing, right? Like whatever y'all are going through, text each other. Don't putting it on Instagram, putting it on all these social media sites, not good. I think anybody who's not Pap and Remy definitely shouldn't be involved in the conversation at all. But I think I'm heartbroken because I thought that this would be I don't know. I assume that any celebrity couple could break up.
I assume that they will break up.
I was being nice. Yes, I assume they will.
Assume they will. More likely than not will.
I kind of thought, and I no reason to think this, but I kind of thought they were gonna make it.
I didn't think it was gonna be ugly if they didn't make. Like I didn't think it was gonna be this ugly. Like this is like ugly. Like
Yeah.
Between the public cheating with the dude, with Remy, and like it was so public and weird, and then like this whole thing with Pap and the new girlfriend and the setting, and it's so public, and I just didn't think it would be so public and so petty. It just seemed very immature. Like I would expect them. They just seem like they just be just very different, and But again, everybody always says when people have divorces and things like that, that person across the table is often, and is often unrecognizable when they sort of, it's like, all right, whoever, at the other side of the, with lawyers and things like that. And so you always remember, and I remember having to sort of thinking about that when I've dated people who just responded in ways that I just like, oh, you're responding to this very small thing in this way. Like, I was like, I can't imagine if there's some custody issue in the future or something like we had, a family. I'm like, I was like, not the way everyone says it, that the kindest, most gentle person becomes a monster potentially, in a breakup of that kind of magnitude. So, yeah, this is like, no one looks good from this. It's like no one's getting that off. Like, do you think you're getting that? Like, you don't like stop this. Like, you don't. It's not unless they feel good from it. Do they feel better about it? I don't like.
That's the thing that I think I find so frustrating is that after you do all this, you're still in the same place. You're still hurting. You still need to heal. Except the world knows your business, and you probably said and done things that you can't take back.
Right. I wonder if is there some kind of relief? Is it doing it? Do you think like when Remy's posting these pictures and doing these things, is there like, is there some kind of relief?
People say it is.
Until the person claps back, and then you like, oh, you get riled up again, and it's like ongoing. To me, it's like somebody just has to just stop responding, because if whoever stops responding, the other person's gonna just be looking crazy.
Exactly. To me, at least one of them isn't ready to let this thing go.
Right.
Because
whoever, when
you're ready to let it go, you move on. That's that. I don't know which one of them it is, but I know you can't do this unless both people are engaged. So if just one person is like, hey, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm gonna move on.
Tapping out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tap. You got it. But the back and forth is. I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say it wouldn't shock me if they ended up back together in a year or two.
I know. Yeah, stranger things have happened.
Stranger things
because they aren't actually, they don't look like they don't care enough. Like,
yeah, yes, both of them clearly give a fuck.
Yeah,
and
it is some high school like what? But that in that way that's like, oh, you care, because otherwise I'd be like, all right, this is like I got a partner. Like, and also usually if you're the partner, or you're a partner with somebody, it's like, yo, why do you care so much?
And
like
that's the other
usually
thing.
the other person is gonna be like, yo, why do you give a fuck so much? Like you give a whole lot of fucks here when it seems like you should have been, moved on. And then you just like, oh, it's about this, it's about that, and you find all these other reasons to make it about. But yeah, like, yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate because again, there's a way that that Remy and Pat were like, oh, that was like, it had a beautiful black love story sort of element. Right. I was like,
I think that's why I was rooting for them. In general, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think because she was locked up for 6+ years, because he held her down, as far as we know, there was something beautiful about that, of her coming home and he was waiting, having worked to protect the relationship, to enhance. I mean, their brand benefited from their love story. So there's just all these pieces to it that made me say, damn,
it ran counter to, honestly, this is, I feel like I talked about this. I don't remember where I was talking about this, but I heard Remy one time on a podcast or something talking about the way, like, that culturally, that there's a way that, holding a man down when he's locked up is like such a thing, right? Like you're sort of obligated. There's a way that Black women, Latino women are like sort of feel compelled to have to do that as sort of a showing of affection and love and holding their man down. But like the opposite doesn't usually happen. And she talked about how few women are visited and the loneliness of women, who are in have been imprisoned, and sort of like, and I don't know whether she was a little bit saying that she was also experiencing that, because again, the narrative was how much he held her down. But either that, or she actually was like, that he was actually holding her down in a way that other women just weren't experiencing that. They just weren't. People, that's just not a thing. Holding a woman down and when they're in prison is just not a thing. That's not, what I'm saying? Like,
it's not even an idea that people, I've never heard anybody mention it, talk about it.
Right. But it was just something so touching about when she said that. And also just so heartbreaking to think about these women, in these terrible sort of prison conditions, and just having no one's putting money in their books. No one's visiting them, these sort of isolation that they were, experiencing. So there was a way that you heard about Remy and Pap, you're like, thank you, like, for just holding down this woman, like, this is the who's going through this. And they came out and be like, yeah, we all have these sort of folks.
I loved it.
Behind.
I loved it. I was like, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know how true it is, I should say. But the narrative itself is good for all of us. It's good for the community. It's good for.
And I was like, ugh, like, all right, okay.
I remember when Remy came home. I used to be. I know I've had a million jobs, but I worked at 106 in Park for about a year or two as a political correspondent. And I remember being there. What'd you say?
Forgot about that. We joke about that all the time. Like, you don't remember that time that I sold insurance? Wait, what? Remember that time when they used to fix rocket ships? Like, no.
You're like, what? I be forgetting, man. Fix rocket ships is crazy. But I remember working at 106, and I remember being backstage with them, because a lot of times couples, you'll see couples, and they'll have a very public presence, and that public presence is so different than their private presence. I thought it was so dope to be backstage with them, with Pap and Remy, and they both were super nice, super cool, super chill, but they were clearly like in love. And they were clearly like happy, and they were clearly like not doing this thing for the cameras. And that was so rare to me at the time. And I watched over the next 2 years, I watched them come to 106 a couple of times. I watched them at BET do some stuff with us on Prisons. And at every turn, their shit seemed really genuine. And Papoose in particular, Remy was super cool, super dope. I spent more time with Pap just because that's how, you know, the business is sometimes. And the way he talked about holding her down, the way he talked about missing her, the way he talked about like trying to build things back was so like rare to me, but also so earnest. Again, I just wasn't used to seeing that kind of stuff or hearing that kind of stuff. So I was just, you know, so and again, it was just like to your point, it was just a rare story.
Yeah, we get invested. I mean, it's the thing. I mean, we all sort of get invested in. We all want to have hope and sort of see people thrive and sort of have that mean that, you know, like for those who either have love or those who are seeking love or those who are out of it and trying to return back, you know, or hoping to come back to that space. We all we look to things and say like, you know, to give us hope, like, all right, well, that worked out, because you want to see it worked out for somebody, right? Like, damn, like if it's like nobody is working out for, you know, then it's hard to sort of hold on to a fantasy that you are seeing play out in real life, especially if you haven't had that with your parents or, you know, this thing, which is very common. And so people, and if people are sharing their love publicly, you know, like, you're going to be sort of a little bit of attached to the story. And then to watch it just kind of like dissolve in front of your face, you know, like, all right. Like there's just like, you know, you're not, you know, crying yourself to sleep, but it's just like, oh, another one bites the dust, you know?
Yes. Remy said it
will be interesting.
It will be. It'll be a very different book than it would have been a year ago. And then it might be 2 years from now. So I hope it's measured and thoughtful.
Yeah. You can't take that back. That's the thing about when you write these books. You know, like you do things digitally, whatever, but you write a book. It's like that however she, you know, concludes that thing. If she's in a bad space, she's in a bad space. That in a way where she later on will regret that she ended it in a you know, if she would have ended like right now.
Right. All right, family. Babe, before I go, I was looking at these 106 in Park pictures. Should I grow the hair back?
Oh, you look just like Lenny.
That's my big brother, y'all. You think so?
Oh my gosh, you look so much like Lenny there. No, also the answer, but no, but
absolutely not.
Ixnay on the air say, but like oh that it's hard with the makeup too.
It's a lot of makeup.
It's a lot of makeup. Whole lot of makeup.
Hair, hair.
So but you know, I like that. I like the. I think I like it low. I like it lower now.
Yeah, apparently everybody else does too. I hate y'all. Whatever.
But everyone's like, no.
Whatever you do. Plus, I think my hairline's also a step behind.
I'm about to say that the problem is the hairline is, you know, changes with time. So it might not look the same either.
It will not.
But again, like you have a pretty strong hairline for your age, you know.
Yeah, but it'll be given moving on up. If
that's a little moving on up ceremony. My hair's a moving up ceremony. It's just.
Whew. All right, baby, you go to bed. I'm a log out too. I have one more story to read, but I don't feel like it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, y'all. It's always you have such a great community here. You know.
Yeah, great conversation. We got about 4,500 people still watching right now live, which is great. Lots of people. That's all because of you. Seriously, I
you know, I get to shucking and jiving.
I know we didn't even get silly tonight, but
I know.
So you haven't been on since Thanksgiving. So you did Thanksgiving and Memorial Day. You got to come back more often.
Yeah, I keep saying we just be so tired, and the routine and nightly routine takes a whole nother. I gotta like watch my favorite TV, like do the whole thing. But it's always nice. We can do it earlier. It'd be better.
Maybe we'll pre-record it. Somebody said basketball wives. What do you say?
Oh man, we've talked about it. It's just you just have to be a lot more forthcoming, a lot more explicit, and we're still kind of private. I'm open though. That's the thing. I'm a sharer.
Well,
But
and that's the challenge of it, right? It's like if you do it, you gotta do it.
Gotta you gonna do it. You gotta do it. I can't be like, you're not gonna hear me talking about fuck.
Right.
You do that for all the time because it's like, why are you here? But
Right.
but that would be. I mean, this way it's like, oh, that might be fun. But it's also man, folks are brutal out here. Y'all are cool, but I can't take mean comments.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want that, and I'm very protective of you in that way. So I don't want.
Yeah.
Like it's not anything about you. It's just people are mean. You could be
just mean, and again, they say shit to people that they would never say to online that they wouldn't say in their face.
And then that makes you want to
yeah. It's like, yo, who is John S25 like 36?
Right.
Like I'm gonna find you.
Right.
I'm gonna find your ass. Right. I'm gonna Google search this image.
Right. Google Earth, we be right at that crib.
Where you at?
And then we're the crazy people.
Yeah, I know. It's like now I look like I don't want to be that. I don't want to be obsessed with the comments too, and it becomes kind of a trap. And yeah, you do folks' ability, right? Like protect yourself, protect your peace. Like it's hard. But there becomes an appeal. It's like, yeah, if there's some message that if there's some message you can convey or bring a different perspective or add a different kind of spin. I was like, I don't know if I fit in. I was like, I don't know if I fit in.
I think you'd fit in. I think you'd fit in anywhere, and I think you'd be great. I'm not even sure I'd be great on it, to be honest. I think I have more confidence in you being great on it.
I believe you're more private than I am, actually.
That's what I mean. It's like,
I mean, I'm still fine. I'm like, wait, what'd you do? I never told you that. No.
And so, yeah, they see enough of me on the JB network, and I love all of it. But I want to also I want to make sure that I'm not doing too much. I'm not overexposed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I can't. I have students. Like I can't be sitting there talking about
freaky deaky stuff.
Right, eating ass, like all these things that they be like talking like oh, that's a lot. Like
And to be clear, that example was an example from the episode last week. Not.
And I just said that I didn't even watch that episode.
Yeah, literally.
I literally did not. I was just
last week. It came up on JVP last week, to be specific. Yeah, twice.
Because it came up last night at the thing that I was at. We were talking about that.
Yeah, it's
yeah, and I think I think there's gotta be some place I think that there is for us to right, like I don't. I think there's probably some place for us to maybe have a regular conversation with folks, but I don't necessarily know if that's it. And again, like I'm not, I always want to be clear. Like I love when people do what you love and put it out there in a way that you reveal. Right. I think openness is important. I think that people think that our when I even like I said the conversation that happened last night at this house event. Very intimate, so people were just talking, and you just realize, like, I think because people think that things are, so taboo and feel ashamed about things, and I think that there's a way that when people are very explicit and open about things, that people do feel like this, they have license to kind of be who they are. So I do love that. So I think that I love that folks are sort of sharing things that as long as they feel comfortable with it and don't feel compelled to do it just for attention or as like versus something like they just want to share. But it's just everybody has to know the ledge, like know where you like I said, like know your boundaries, know your limits, and sort of say, because I'm like, I think you just kind of get caught up in it. Just be like, before you know it, you're like, wait, why did I say that? I don't know.
Right.
I can't take
once you say one thing, you gotta keep going.
Now.
Yeah. So no, I don't see us doing that in the immediate future. But like somebody said, we can talk here. So we got our own platform. So
exactly. Like you have something where we can, and we can have conversation. And again, like I'm actually I'm a sharer, so it's not like, that's why I'm almost a little worried a little bit too much about being a platform where you're actually asking me direct questions because I don't know if I won't answer.
So.
So it's like
let's do something regular here where we talk about relationships and love and community and all that stuff.
I love talking about that. Yeah, I think it's yeah. I mean, these are all important aspects of our life, and I think that we tend to minimize sometimes the personal, but it's just as important as everything else. Our political life, our political self, and again for us, as we always say, that those selves are not so distinct. Like our political selves and our social selves and our romantic selves, that they're not as distinct as other they might be with other folks. So because of that, yeah, I don't mind talking about all of those things. I think they're all relevant, and I think they're all related to one another. I think that folks gotta. It's a vicious world in terms. It's a vicious online world.
Ooh, you ain't never lied. Yeah. Ooh, you ain't never lied. Jarrell, yes, I promise to bring her back.
Yeah. It won't be so long. I can't believe it's been Thanksgiving. We on a whole multiple seasons later.
I know. So we're gonna do it. Somebody asked if we could do something monthly. I think that's a good.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be cool. Monthly thing would be is very manageable. It's super manageable.
Somebody said we should do a call-in relationship show.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I would love to do a relationship show. I think it'd be so fun.
That still sounds kind of amazing.
I think it would be really fun.
I like that. It just William said, "Are you still?" I was like, "Yes, I am." In fact, I'm recording tomorrow. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Wait, what day?
Wednesday morning. Yep.
It's holiday. Yeah, Wednesday.
These days throw me off. Yeah. Somebody said once a quarter. Fine to send it. You want less of us.
Once a quarter. Not too much.
Saturated. Man, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Again, baby, I love you. Thank you for doing this as always.
You're downstairs.
I'm acting like you're not
upstairs. I think I'm gonna do this routine time.
Do your thing. I'm gonna stay downstairs and eat all the secret food that I hid, and try and get a few hours of sleep too.
Okay.
All right, baby. I'll see you. Everybody, thank you for watching Night School as always. We love you. We appreciate you. Hit the like button if you like what you saw. It adds some reach. It lets the YouTube algorithms know that corporate media is not the only game in town. Also hit the subscribe button. It extends our social media footprint so the work and the content gets out to more people. And of course, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. You can find it either on your browser or on the little button right next to subscribe if you're on a browser. If not, go into the comment section. You can see a join link. It allows you to become a monthly paid subscriber to the channel. We could use it because it gives us the financial stability we need to keep this channel going. Also, if you want to make a contribution tonight, but you don't want to make a monthly commitment, we understand that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What we ask you to do is go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, and you can make a one-time payment. Consider it like tuition for night school. You make a one-time payment right now. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. If you drop $1 in, we are grateful. No amount is too small. If you drop $1 million in, no amount is too big. We're just as grateful, maybe even more grateful if you drop $1 million in. But anything in between, we're also grateful for. So please, family, drop something in tonight if you enjoyed what you saw, or if you want to see more of what you saw. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Again, $1 is fine. $1 million is fine. Anything in between is fine. But what we're asking for tonight is $5. If everybody watching right now could send $5, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, we will meet our financial goals for the month. Now, everybody's not going to do that, so you can always send a little more to make up for it. And everybody ain't got it. So again, you can send $1. We're grateful. Please don't think it's too little. But if everybody who's capable could send $5 right now to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle as their tuition for the month, I'm not saying every night, today for the month, we will meet our financial goals. But either way, family, even if you don't have any money, continue to watch, continue to support, continue to study, because that is what night school is all about. I'll see y'all tomorrow, family. Love you. Peace.